family of IJ Designs. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Welcome back to another tutorial. I'm so excited to be back with a new tutorial. Thank you for all your amazing support in 2021. Thank you for all your comments, appreciations. I highly appreciate you all. If today is your first time of stopping by this channel, you are highly appreciated. Welcome. So guys, I believe 2022 is going to be a year of progress to all of us in the name of Jesus. Amen. So today's tutorial is to show to you guys how I achieved this beautiful, lovely bishop sleeve that I'm putting on. Do you see it? So wonderful, so lovely. It is easy to achieve. It's easy to DIY. You need only your basic sleeve pattern to achieve this bishop sleeve. It's so simple, easy to achieve. We are going to use the slash and spread method to achieve it. You need, like I said, your basic sleeve pattern to achieve it. So guys, without wasting much of your time, let us go to the working table. To achieve your bishop sleeve, you need your basic pattern, your sleeve pattern. You need it to achieve it. So this is mine. So let us see what measurement that we have. My measurement is 23 inches. 23 inches. But because it is a bishop sleeve, it has to have allowance when you add it elastic or when you add it curve, depending the one that you want. I'm going to show to you guys how to add it curve or how to use it with elastic. That is what we are going to achieve today. So now I have 23 inches here, both seam allowance. That means 22 is my length and 1 inch that is have to add it to the body and have to fold it, make it all 23 inches. But now on this bishop sleeve that we are going to achieve now, I want to add extra 2 inches to it. Why am I adding 2 inches? So that by the time you add your elastic, remember this 2 inches is not for elastic, it's for it to bounce up when you add elastic. So if I'm going to add elastic, I'm going to add more 1 inch so that I will fold it and add elastic. But if I'm not adding elastic, that I'm using curve to achieve this bishop sleeve, I'm just going to also add 1 inch to it. So now I'm going to use this to achieve our bishop sleeve. But before then, we are going to divide it so that we are going to make more rooms. Remember, the bishop sleeve on the pulse, that is on the down part of it, it is a little bit big than the upper side, depending on how big or exaggerated you want it to be. So now on this point, you can call it the biceps line. I'm going to mark my line there. I'm going to mark my line on this upper part. Just come down by 3 inches or 4 inches, depending on the size you are using. My size is 3.5 inches. I came down by 3.5 inches from the edge. So I now give it a straight line. So from here now, I'm going to divide it to know how many lines that I will have to do it the slash and spread method. So I will now divide this. Let me see what I have here. I have 9 inches. 9 inches, I'm going to divide it in 3. So at this 6 and at the 3. So I divide it in 3. So now I'm going to now connect it to the down parts in order to make my slat and spread style. You can decide to add more. You can decide to add more slashes. Okay, on this middle, let us add more 1. You can decide to slash it as many as you want. It's your choice to make more rooms, to have more allowance at the down. So I have marked 4 lines now. If you want also, you can also on this side mark another one. The choice is yours, what you want to do, how wide you want to spread it. Okay, now in total we have 1, 2, 3, 4. That is what we are going to cut open. You can decide to cut 2, 3, 4 is your choice. So now guys, we are going to cut it open. Do you see? I have now cut it open. Do you see? I have slashed it. Do you see it? So now I'm going to place it on a material to cut it out. This is the starting point. Here is the starting point where we are going to place our sleeve. And on the edge, we are going to place it on the edge. First, I will use my pin to hold it. I'll use my pin to hold it, and also on this side, I'll use my pin to hold it. So now I've used the pin to secure it. The next thing to do is to add our allowance at the down. Remember, I said I'm going to add some inches to make it to bounce up. When I add it, I'm going to use curve on this pattern. I'm going to use curve on this project, but I'm going to show to you guys how you can equally use elastic if you want to add it elastic. I've made series of video on how to use elastic on balloon sleeve. It is the same thing. So I'm going to show to you guys, but here I'm going to use curve for this bishop sleeve. So now that we have placed it here, just take your measurement. Remember, it's 23, but I'm going to add 3 inches more. I'm going to add 3 inches more so that when I add my curve, it's going to bounce up. The 3 inches is inclusive seam allowance. So this is the 3 inches that I added. So I'll give it a straight line so that when we are cutting, we are going to cut from it. So this is the length now that we are going to use. So the next thing to do is to start spreading our slash. Do you see it? You spread it as you can. Remember, the upper side remains the same. You can equally achieve this bishop sleeve by just from this point, you now give the wideness that you want, just come out. But I want us to achieve it with the slash and spread style. So now we are going to now spread it in this form. You see it, guys? So now the next thing to do is to cut it out. But remember, we are going to cut out from the place we added allowance. Do you see it? So now we are going to cut it out. Just from here, you trace it to the point that we came down. Do you see? That is why I said if you don't want to go the stress of slashing and spreading, you can equally take your measurement from your armhole here down to where you want it to be. That is the wideness to be at the down part. So now from here, we are going to connect. That is the 3 inches that we added. So from this point now, we are going to connect. Do you see it? To the 3 inches. Do you see it? Then we'll now cut it out. Then cut out also this before cutting the front armhole. So now we are going to cut it out. Now guys, we have cut it out. The next thing is to open it up to cut out our front armhole. Do you see it? You take the 2. You open it up in this form. Then you remove your pin. This is just to guide you to cut out your front armhole. So now you take out your draft. And guys, this is our bishop sleeve. Do you see it? Here is our bishop sleeve. Do you see it? So the next thing to do now is to cut out our curve. We'll now cut out our curve. Now guys, the next thing to do is to cut out our curve. So when you cut out your curve, when you are sewing it on this down, that is the pulse area, you can now fold or you can pleat it. Do you see it? To create the bishop sleeve. Do you see it? While the upper side remains the same. Do you see it? Do you see how it is? So now I'm going to cut out my pulse. The pulse I'm working with is 9 inches. So I'm going to cut it out, and I want it to be of 2 inches. So I'm going to fold back my material. So let's say this is our starting point. Here is our starting point. And I want the length to be 2 inches. So I'm going to cut out 4 inches. Because when I fold it, I want it to be 2 inches. So I'm going to cut out 5 inches. So that when I fold it, taking half, then I'll have fold it together, I'll have my 2 inches. So now I'm going to take my ruler to rule it to start. So I'm going to rule it in this form. You see it? And I'm going to measure out 10 inches. Here is my 10 inches. Then I'm going to rule it back. And the length, that is, I want it to be 2 inches, so I'm going to cut out 5 inches. Remember, cutting out 5 inches is for the allowance altogether. And by the time I fold it in two, I'm going to have my 2 inches. So now I'm going to cut it out. Then I'm going to cut it open for the 2 sides. Do you see it, guys? Now I'll close it up. Do you see it? When I now close it in this form, I'll have my 2 inches. I'll close it by taking ½ inch. Do you see it? And close it also here and here. Then I'll have my pulse measurement. Do you see it? So now the next thing to do is to take it to the machine. Now this is one of our sleeve. Do you see it? I decided to use the longest stitch on my machine to sew on it and gather it. I didn't pleat it again. I find this more beautiful, the gathering, than the pleating, so I use the gathered one. Do you see it? So I've not done this. I want to show to you guys how you can do it and also attach your curve. So now this is the one that I've just also used the longest stitch in my machine to gather. Do you see it? When pulling it, be very careful. Don't pull it hard, otherwise the thread will cut and you will start up afresh. Just pull it gradually until you have your desired pulse measurement. Do you see it? So, and this is the curve. Remember, it is 5 inches that we measured out. It is 5 inches that we measured out, and on that 5 inches you close it up by ½ inch that we also add as our allowance, and you now turn it. Do you see it? When you turn it, you still have your 5 inches. Then you now divide it in two. Do you see it? You fold it in two in this form to have your 2 inches and also to have your ½ inch to join it. Do you see it now? So this is my pulse measurement. Do you see it? So I'll now take it and I'll now turn the sleeve. I'll turn it the wrong side. I'll turn the wrong side of the sleeve. Do you see it? And I've already closed it. Remember, after gathering it, I close it with the seam allowance. Then now turn it in this form. This is the area that you close, and this is the area that you also close on your pulse. So you now take it to match it. This right side is going to face the right side inside. So you now place it inside in this form. Then you open it up to match it to the the allowance that you used to close it up. Do you see it? Then you now make sure that it's the same with your pulse. You now turn it to make sure to check the pulse measurement. That is the way to that I fixed this. Do you see it? So you now put it inside, then you measure, make sure that you gather it to get to the measurement of your pulse. Then you now sew it. Do you see it? Now I have the right measurement. Do you see it? I have the right measurement. So I'm going to now take it to the machine to sew it, after which I'll now fix it to the gown that I'm making, and I'll put it on the mannequin for us to see the final look. Now guys, this is the result of our bishop sleeve. So beautiful, so lovely. Do you see how it looks on this gown? If you want to achieve it with elastic, what you have to do is to fold your allowance. If you added 1 inch allowance or 2, you just fold it and measure out your pulse. Cut it out and insert it. I've made series of video on how to make a balloon sleeve to insert the elastic. I will link it in the description box below for you to check it out. It's also the same way to insert your elastic on this bishop sleeve. So guys, if this tutorial has been helpful to you, please don't forget to follow me on Facebook, Iconic IJ, on Instagram, IJ Designs, and on Pinterest, IJ Designs. If you have not subscribed to my channel, consider subscribing. Subscription is free. I'll see you in my next video. For now, bye.